So I know that in my previous video I told you guys that I was going to show you guys how you can detect a quality hair, and I feel like I don't need to dive too deep into this topic because of the kind of markets that we have. We have majority of the markets is saturated with processed hair. So basically sometimes is actually what they expect that they get. Do you get? Except if you want to actually venture into a core quality hair that's like a raw hair or a slightly processed hair. Because I told you guys in my other video that there are some raw hairs that actually need mild processing for it to look good. There are some raw hairs that if you actually get it in this raw state, it will not really give you something that you can work with. So you actually need to process it a little bit just to make it uniform in a certain way so that you can actually use it. Because some people think that raw hair only mean that you don't have to process it at all at all. If you're talking of a particular origin, then that's fine. But if you actually want to venture into different origins, different nations and regions, you have to know that you actually come to a point in your sourcing that there are hairs that actually need a slight processing for it to be able to be handled. You get that now. So aside from that, I actually want to also tell you guys that not all hair that is soft mean that is a quality hair. Not all thick hair too, or hair that feels thick, mean that it is a quality hair. You get that now. So I told you guys that everything can actually boil down to the method of processing you get and how the hair initially came. There's some hair that I told you guys that naturally came as a thick hair, that's like a coarse hair, just like some Vietnam regions. You get that. So saying that a soft hair is better than a thicker hair because of it came as origin as thick and the other one came soft, you think that this one has or holds more quality than this. You get that. So most people judge hair just by the feeling of the hair without knowing that the feeling alone can be misleading. You get that? Because even a thick hair or a coarse hair don't necessarily mean that it holds more quality, because actually it can also be processed in a very negative way and it will not hold quality again. And also the method of sourcing, that is just it, because a lot of hairs are sourced differently. Raw hairs are sourced differently. Remy hairs are sourced differently. You get that? So a hair being cut out from a donor's head don't necessarily mean that that hair holds as much quality. You get that? Aside from the fact that raw hair means that it is unprocessed, it is untouched, there are also hairs that they cut out from donors that don't hold much quality. You get that? So not all hair that is being cut out from a donor hold much quality and should be classified under raw hairs. So all these things are method of sourcing. You get that now? So if you are not direct about the way you source your hairs, you might actually be misled. Because if you saw somebody standing and cutting a hair from a donor, don't necessarily mean that that actual hair might actually hold much quality. So that is why some factories actually select their donors. Some of the factories actually put age in it. They'll tell you, okay, that they'll get their hairs from young donors to like 20 years old or maybe 25 or to 35 years. You get that? Just so that they can be able to handle the quality in the hair, because there's some people that just misuse their hair and things like that. But there are some regions that use natural products, like they still stick to the natural herbs and herbals to work on their hair. You get that's why their hair still remain thick and shiny. You get that. So that is actually depends on the where those factories are sourcing their hair from, and they themselves will know which one is better and which one is not, because they live there, they know how hairs can actually look like. This is why most of the time when people want to source their hairs, they actually go directly to those places and see how it is sourced and selected. You get that? If you really want to venture into this raw hair, you really need to go there and see, because some of these factories can be mischievous. They can mix anything there and wrap it in a bundle and tell you that this is bundle, this is from one donor, one donor, one donor. You get that? So you just need to, you need to also understand how human hair can work. And with the little knowledge you have, by the time you go there, you can actually see what is happening there. You get that? Because they actually gather hairs from different places, different nations that they buy their hair and source their hair from. So when it is brought there, they actually select them. You get, they try to remove the shorter strands from the hair so that it can actually look like something that you can work with. So by the time they remove the short strands in it, maybe they get 2 to 3 donors or 4 donors. They do those selections so that they can remove the short strands in it, and also hair that look alike or shades that look alike. You get. And another thing I'm going to talk about is the brown tip, because some regions actually come with brown tip, and if you are not aware Or if you think that all raw hairs has to come with brown tip or shades of brown inside, you'll be deceived, because the factories too help you out with that. They can color their hair to brown tip, and you think that that brown tip mean that it is a raw hair. You get that? So there are a lot of things to actually look out for in this particular selections of hair. If you really want to understand raw hair, you need to actually like be sure of how every source is coming, how everything is going. You use your own hand to research for countries that you actually want to venture into, see how their hair come, see how their textures are and everything, so that you will not be telling your customers one thing and your suppliers will be telling you another thing. So that is just one thing to just check out in this whole industry. Like there's a lot of things to actually learn. In fact, the more you go deep into the hair industry, the more you actually your brain will want to explode, because there's a lot of things. That's why some people don't even bother to actually go and learn all those things. They just go with whatever. There are actually regions too that you actually need certificates. You need certificate as a verified hair vendor to enter a particular country to source hairs. So there are some countries that even if you want to source hairs there, you actually need certificates. You actually need to go through some government officials and things like that. Sometimes your product gets seized. So imagine a vendor going through all that stress, getting all those certificates and maybe limited time in that country, and they come back, they come and sell the hair for you as 30K or what. I don't understand. So that is just it. There are a lot of procedures to actually go through to get real raw hairs, aside from like the few nations that people are actually going to source the hair from. If you want to really expand in the hair industry, like go to different countries, because there's some countries that don't have direct shipping down to Nigeria. You can actually route different countries. So by the time you route through 3 to 4 countries to get to your country and pay all the custom fee with all those ones to your own country, it is not easy. That is why you'll be seeing that there are raw hairs of maybe 10, 15 to 20 million. And I know that there are hairs like that. It's just that it is rare. Like the sourcing is really rare. And to get contacts to those places is actually rare. You get that? So if you really want to get into the main thing, this hair business, all these people that are still making noise on social media here have not really started anything. The only thing that I just feel like is just that I am limited in a little way, because I'm a small business owner and I'm still growing. But if this is for the research, I've actually like gone broadly in my research to check whatever is going on in the hair industry. And I just hope that with time or soon enough can actually like utilize every knowledge that we've accumulated so far. So that's basically it. So the more you stick to this page, the more you actually learn most of the things you need to know before starting hair business. And I have a YouTube channel for that as a beginner friendly and even intermediate friendly. Anything that you need to know about hair business is actually here on this page. And also this is also for my aspiring customers that you're sticking with the real deal. This is gold right here. You're seeing gold in real life. That is just it. So my knowledge is not common. The effort I put to get my knowledge is not easy. So that's just it. So the more you stick with this brand, Mark Hair Culture, you're going places. We are all going places. So thanks for watching, and more topics coming up, unveiling some little aspects in the hair industry so that you won't be scammed or you won't be misled by some of these factories.